So, welcome to a deep stretch class. And we've got block, we've got strap. We are going to begin seated, in a shoelace pose. So shoelace pose is knee on top of knee. Now I've got myself elevated on a blanket. It tends to make it a little bit more intense. So right knee on top of left knee. And so, let's see, actually I take that back, it lessens the intensity. So if you need a little less intensity, prop yourself up on a blanket. Otherwise, having your hips making contact with the ground, this is the shoelace pose. Feet are alongside, snugged up against where you are. Be sure you have your strap nearby because we're going to go into a gomukasana along with it. So just settling into the shoelace pose here. There are some variations for shoelace. You can do one knee with the bottom leg straight, or even a slight opening up if the legs are not quite opening to close in on the shoelace completely. And we'll take the strap now in the right hand, bend the right elbow. Let's prep that shoulder first. And we're simply going to rock open the shoulder heads. And we can even do a little fun in the rib cage as well. This will help to nestle in a little bit more to the hips. And then allow that elbow to snug behind the spine, behind the neck, or near in that direction, pointing the tip of the elbow up to the ceiling. And then once you're comfortable here, have the other hand come around to gather that strap. I lost my microphone. Okay, here we go. So left hand starts to inch up the strap, and they're meeting to join one another. Ooh, it's been a while for this one. So if it has that same sensation for you as well, friend, then allow it to just be at its 25% point or 50%, and then as you rest into it, the connective tissue in the shoulder will begin to relax and let go, and you can inch your way a little more and a little more. So you may notice that you're wanting to collapse in the spine, so I'm going to encourage you just for this next minute to draw up on the pelvic floor and on the navel to have a nice tall spine. We're going to fold forward after that point. You can even arch the back and lift your gaze if that's available, which is the gomukasana. It's the cow or the calf drinking milk. So imagine the baby calf lifting its countenance for the milk. And in the yogi's case, it's the wisdom and nurturing that we get from our yoga practice here. So breathing, relax where it's available to you. And then you can pull a little bit at a time. The top hand can inch and pull, and the bottom hand. And now very gently folding forward into and over the legs.
I'm someone that likes to do a little wiggling or supple movements to open up and unlock any areas. I don't like to be too stagnant in my poses, so if you see some wiggling going on, that's just going on to unhinge the areas that might be holding tension. Hanging in there, if you're with me, hanging in there. Notice the breath is quite collapsed, so you'll need to breathe into your back. With every breath, you can feel the arms lifting in the back. So there's a little response. And reaction from the hands. So we're going to keep the bind and begin to lift the body. We're going back into that length of the spine and lift of the gaze. And you may notice you have a little more space here, so I would encourage you to inch those hands a little closer. We're going to hold here for the final 5 breaths. And as you release the strap, allowing that other arm to come around, and we'll draw it towards the body. And then circling around, you can take your fingertips to the shoulders and a few movements. Maybe just stretching up above, circling the wrists. We're going to keep the shoelace for just a little while longer while we take some lateral bends. So one hand down to your side, stretching over. That free hand that's dangling in the air can be secured behind the neck as a way of releasing any tension. And also you get to hold your head here for relaxation where applicable. So no unnecessary tension here. 5 more breaths, collapsing or compressing on the ribs. Notice that there is a equal opposite, or that's the idea, counterpoint in the ribs, cinching, compressing on one side and expanding on the other. Extend that arm, reach it a little bit long, nice long fingers, and then allow the arm to guide you back center. We'll go to the opposite side. Balance out here. If your block is there and you would like some support to get to a stable place, placing the block instead of the floor. So extension of that arm and find the counterpoint of cinching and expansion. So one side compressing. Five more breaths right here. So the intercostal muscles are these incredible, powerful muscles in between the ribs, on the outside of the ribs, on the inside of the ribs. It's just a meat, a muscle holding in all these bones in place. And so let's extend that arm. It's so perfect for lifting and expanding those heavy bones coming back to center. That heavy rib cage off of the lungs. So we're going to unwrap the legs and pause for a forward fold. So at this point, I like to use a block for a little more intense stretch here. So a couple of ideas is to use a strap. You're not quite reaching towards the feet. You want to use a strap so you have some elevation. And then, of course, hamstrings are not all the same. So place something underneath to bend the knees to make it easier on and less stress on the low back. You want to hinge from the hips. So not so much just the waist. The block goes on the opposite outer side of the feet for a nice long spine here. Relax the shoulders a little bit. If you bend your elbows, that will naturally relax the shoulders away from your ears. So you can release a little more and a little more. Think of the hips as blooming or blossoming back behind you. With every inhale, lengthening. And with every exhale, drawing the navel back to spine and folding from the hip crease. And in the yogi world, it's the connection of the top of the head, or the crown of the head is touching the top of the feet. That's how much more space we can work towards. So maybe not today. Wherever you are, continue to flex the feet. In other words, push the toes up to the ceiling. If your toes are sticking out to the sides, or if you have external rotation in the hip joint, bring those together. So toes are pointing up and heels pushing forward. Let's do five breaths with movement. So as you inhale, you just look up just a little bit to lengthen your spine. Pull the navel, belly button, and fold as you exhale. Just repeating that. Top of the head touches the top of the feet, toes, flexing up to the ceiling. Big exhales, you go for gold.
From there, back into the shoelace. This time it will be left shin, or left knee, excuse me, on top of right knee. So have the nestling in of the hips and the feet tied in, just like a shoelace. Left arm, left hand is going to have the strap now. Bending the elbow. Do just a few of these rocking the elbow, drawing in, and then settling with that elbow behind for a moment. It's gonna hang out right there. And when you're ready, right arm comes back behind, engaging your bandhas. So nice tall spine, pelvic floor lifted here. An inch, 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 just 50%. Remember, the body's gonna need a little bit of time to relax that connective tissue, to be sure that that's what you meant. You know, there's that, we have a mechanism that helps protect us from tearing. So it's a countering and drawing back. But after that 30-second mark, it will begin to melt easier. So we're gonna lift the gaze first for the first minute before folding forward, and that will give you some time to move past the 50 perhaps. Otherwise, go into your desired stretch here. Focusing on relaxing. Arriving at this moment. There is only this moment right now. And then when you're ready, folding forward, which will intensify, so be prepared for that, which means you may have to sled up a bit.
And bringing a nice breath into the body, keeping the grip. Gonna slowly
relaxing to come up. And for the final minute, coming back into that lift of the gaze, lift of the gomukasana, inching your way, and likely there'll be a little more space that you'll discover here. So bandhas in and up to support the spine. Doing so good. Hang in there if you're hanging in with me. This is an intense stretch. Last 15 seconds. So it all counts. It all counts. Arching the back a little bit more and then releasing slowly. Ooh. Swinging that arm from around the back to the front. And as you circle your wrists, we can reach up in the air. And then fingertips to the shoulders. And just a few of those rolls. Forward and backward. We're going to take the hands down once again for a lateral bend, but it's going to be a little bit different now. We're going to rotate the rib cage, so looking down to rotate, tapping the hand, if that's available, and then we'll bring the arm, rotate to look up. So a little twisting happening in the rib cage, thoracic spine. Compression deepens your awareness of that expansion. You're going to be excellent breathers after this class. The intercostal muscles, so incredible. So we'll come back through center and the same over on the opposite side. Reach the opposite arm to open as you inhale. You can even thread under if you have more space. If you're really twisty tight, then you could thread your hand underneath the arm. Please go for that. I don't think I have that much space though. One more time. Inhale. And release back to center with straight legs, and again a nice forward fold, strap block. You could even do this with a little bit different variation, which could be one leg at a time, one space at a time. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, fold. Push through the heels, toes up to the ceiling, shoulders away from the ears, slight bend in the elbows. Inhale to lengthen, look up, pull your belly button back, and exhale, fold from the hip crease. Let's repeat that with the breath the next 5 breaths. Top of the head touches the top of the feet. Gently start to bring yourself back, and we're going to move into a tree frog pose, which will require you to come sideways on your mat, opening up the knees, possibly having a block to sit on between the thighs, and I'll show you when we get there. So here we are, knees in, hands in the middle, and then begin to open up the feet, flexing the feet. Now at this point is where you can have the block underneath the hips, right there, the little bond point. Otherwise, for that deepening effect, you definitely want to be sure that your knees are not going to be sliding. Coming down to forearms, or you can stay on the hands. And there's really just a point, there's many points along this line. So rocking forward and backward may bring you some a point where you want to hang out and linger. So I would encourage you to do the movements that create space for you. And by the way, if you find that you get to where you feel like you're going to slide and you're getting nervous about that, you're just going to flop forward onto your belly. And that will get you out of the pose and out of danger. So this is extremely, in fact, most of these poses we're doing today, if not all of them, are extremely vulnerable. You want to be mindful, you want to use the props in an intelligent way for your body. And intelligence for the head, so I'm going to use a block so I don't have to hold my bowling ball up. And every once in a while, rocking forward and backward, finding a juicy point, lingering there. So a modification of this could be traditional child's pose with extra space in the legs, so an extra widening of the knees. Hang in there if you're hanging with me. We're in our final minute. Final 30 seconds right here. Tuck the feet in, pressing down to come up onto the hands, draw the knees in, or you can also flop down in the belly and come out of it that way. And we're just simply going to bring the knees tight together for a child's pose. Release. So knee-sensitive people, you want to bring out your blanket if you haven't already for our tree frog. This was pretty knee-intensive too. We're going into some dragon poses. So this is going to be a deep lunge, and then from dragon into some splits. Yay! All right. So right shin forward, or right foot forward. And tucking the back toes of that left leg. We're going into that deep lunge right here. So an extension in the left hip and a deep flexion in the right hip. You want to be sure that you have a right angle or a 90-degree angle in the front here. You can back off of it and go into this if you want a little more opening into the ankle. But I find that having it more generously forward and even a wider than 90 degrees is the optimal level of dragonhood. So finding your dragon and then folding forward, arms and elbows and shoulders on the inside of that knee. Moving organically, creating space, arriving here at the moment. Arrive in the pose. So staying in your dragon, you can come up onto the hands if you're on your elbows. We're gonna roll to the outer edge of this foot. So just to the blade of the foot. And then roll the foot back in, hugging the elbow into the shoulder. So once again, rolling out and then rolling it back in. That's a mindful movement. And then rolling to the outer edge. Hold there for just a second. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Rolling it back in, and we'll move into a little bit of a variation where we go into the side twist of that dragon. So you're going to start to twist towards the right knee, looking behind you. So a winged dragon here. And you may notice that your foot wants to come off of the mat, so placing firmly the pad of your big toe into the mat. So you don't want to roll to the outer edge of the foot right at this point. And then release, come back to center, send your hips back, toes to the ceiling, and we'll go into our half hanumanasana, our half split pose, folding forward here. Now the halfway point, or even before, if you'd like to go in a full split, that will be an option. Rotating the toes out and in, so a little internal, external rotation in the femur bone. Yogi's choice to hang out right here, or slide that foot forward, extending the left leg back for full split. And I happen to have my blanket under the hips, and that was a nice support. You can place a block under the hips for support here. We'll hang out for the final minute. Final 30 seconds right here. And then just nice and easy, we'll bring it back into a child's pose with the legs tight together, so more condensed child's pose, just for a few breaths. have the other side. Getting yourself prepared. Other side, left lunge. Left leg lunges. Both hands on the inside, so you can heel toe that foot just slightly to the side of the mat. Creating room, waiting for that initial relaxing of the fascia of the connective tissue in the joints. Remember 90 degree or even wider in the lunge. And we want to plant firmly all the toes down. So if your foot and arch are starting to lift, place that back, hugging in and squeezing in the knee to the shoulder a little more.
I wish there was a better way to help out the shoulders. You will have a little shoulder workout here. One thing you could do is to have a chair and then relax your upper body on the chair rather than on the floor. Or even a nice cushy stool.
Gently going to come up onto the hands so that we can open up like we did before, where we roll to the outer edge. Dragon opens its wings, so you're rolling to the blade of the foot, and then squeezing that knee back towards the shoulder. Mindfully controlling the movement. Very vulnerable stuff going on here. And then holding open. 4, 3, 2, hug and squeeze that foot back in. And then we're going to rotate to turn toward that knee and melting to look behind right here. And then watch that foot does not roll back out to its blade side. We want to mash in the mound of the big toe here. Staying strong in those shoulders. I know, I feel it too. Slowly rotating out there. We're going to send the hips back, toes to the ceiling, starting with that half hanumanasana, folding over. And again, this is from the hinging of the hips. So all yogis, the spine is so long that the top of the head touches the feet, top of the feet bending from the hip crease, not from the waist. Push those toes up to the ceiling, and then keeping that flexing toe, they're going to rotate in and out. That's right at the femur bone in the hip socket, so it's the whole rotation of the leg, internal, external. And then hang out here for the next minute, or those brave hanumanasana or Hanuman, who was in the traditional Indian mythology was the monkey who was the loyal servant or loyal friend rather of Rama and Sita for the kingdom, helped to save the kingdom of Rama. And his symbol is of loyalty. Now how he was associated with splits, I have no idea. Did not put those together, but he must have been pretty flexible for a loyal monkey to the kingdom. Splits. I just want to let everybody know I never did splits as a kid, and that's just what yoga can do for you. So who says that you're more flexible when you're a kid? I'm sure you are, but I never was. Practice. It's just practice. Continuing the next 30 seconds. Last right here. Find your space, arriving here at this moment in the pose. Moment by moment, each pose changing with the chemistry, with the physics of the cells. You'll have a whole slew of new cells by the end of this class. And we're going to bend to come out of it, hug the knees in for that child's pose that's more condensed. And a few breaths here. So for this next portion, it helps to have a blanket under the shoulders. Not something too tall. Let's see if I can get the right. So I'd like to give a variation for those that this will not be available for, which if you have a neck that has some sensitivities or even have had some surgeries in the past, you're going to avoid this one and go directly just into legs in the air or legs up the wall. This can also be done on the wall. So what we're going to do is open up the cervical spine, taking the ponytails out. If you have a ponytail in, is also going to be of benefit to you. If you're not sure what we're going to do, which we're going into plough pose, but if you're not sure of plough pose, I would ask you to watch first. So the blanket's going to go underneath the shoulders, and actually I think this is a little bit too thick, but we'll find out. And the head will go off of the blanket. So, so watch first, because you don't want to turn your neck once you get into this pose. Arms down by your sides, bending the knees. We're going to start to lift. The blanket is a little challenging. All right, so once you're here, legs up and overhead. With the blanket under the shoulders, it gives you a little more height, so you're not cramming your neck so much into the body. And I'm used to doing this just on the floor. So you want to wiggle the shoulders together, draw the elbows, holding the small of your back, and stay here in plow pose as long as you're able to. And then when you're ready, you're going to go into shoulder stance. So drawing the legs over the shoulders. And I realize this blanket under my shoulders is a little not going to work for my shoulder stance, but let's see if I can get definitely don't have anything behind your head. Okay, this is more what I'm used to. Okay. So it's either shoulder stance, or you can go into the legs up the wall. And this can be done again with the wall itself, placing the feet and lifting the hips little by little. And I don't know if you're like me, you're starting to feel or hear some gurgling. Like immediately as soon as I lifted the legs and went in opposite directions, like a little gurgles happening. So things are moving around, cellular fluid, good news. And if, while you're here in either your shoulder stance or waterfall pose, taking one leg, tipping it over, touching the floor, right leg overhead, and then swap left leg overhead. And you can take that right leg back again one more time. We're going back into plow pose for my shoulder stance people. Anybody in holding, just stay steady in your waterfall. Taking the tops of the feet down here. Hopefully you can see what's going on here. So tops of the feet down. And arms up and overhead. So big stretch in the cervical spine. Again, do not look around. Now, some yogis may be able to bend the knees and bring the knees on either side of the ears. Relax and breathe here. This is the most compressed of the lung poses, in my opinion. Coming back into plow pose and very slowly coming out one vertebra at a time. And waterfall pose, people bending the knees. I'm going to bring the legs straight out. I'm just stretching to lengthen out the body. Reversing that is our fish pose or Matsyasana pose, and I would like to do that with a block. So the block goes between the shoulder blades, and the medium setting is going to be recommended for today, but the low setting is just appropriate. Now the neck is going to be leaning off. If it's not something you would like to do, you'll want to have an extra block or something to help support the head at that point. Otherwise, you'd be on your elbows, and this will give you the right location for that block. Come here, block. Okay, here we go. All right. And you should feel it right at the brow line between the shoulder blades and not touching the neck. Once you find it right there, holding the back of the neck, and here we are in our fish pose or supported fish. So, extending and holding right here. Oh, let's see. Bring my blanket. Oh, that's nice. I would recommend swallowing purposefully a few times here. The neck is exposed, and there'll be a sense of compression in the larynx and the thyroid gland. And imagine that string is connected at the center of your heart, breathing in and out through that opening, through that connection to the string connected to the sky. Notice if your jaw is clenched, unhinged. Relax the forehead. Melt into that block. So with the final minute, option to draw the knees in, pull the feet together, and open up the
for bound angle pose. However, we've done quite a bit with the hips, so maybe just relaxing. And then turning your head to one side, you will roll to that side and hang out, removing the block, and then coming back to the mat on your back. If you have an eye mask to place over your eyes for final shavasana. Otherwise, this time with your breath, with your loving self-care practice, you might bring one hand to the heart, the other to your belly. Just feel your body breathing. And as you breathe into your hands, picturing in your mind a blue sky, clear blue, beautiful, cloudless sky, clear mind, calm mind, free of worry mind. Blue as long, as far as you can see in your mind's eye. Bringing a little movement into your fingers and toes, circling the wrists and ankles, stretching the arms long, gathering your knees, and rocking your spine side to side, possibly up and down into seated pose. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you have more time to do your shavasana, please do that. So essential to rest and relax. So I bid you a wonderful evening, everybody. Namaste.